Hi, folks, and welcome to this course on international business. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the course and just run through a few of the items that you can expect to encounter in this course. So by the time we're done with this video, you should have a pretty good idea of what to expect in the course and the kind of work that you'll be doing in order to get a good grounding in international business. And with that, I'm going to bring up some PowerPoints, at least I hope I will, and we can get started. And there it is. There we are. So the course number is Business 370. Again, we're talking about international business. There we go. The textbook, let me come down here for a minute, is a relatively new one. And it looks large, but in fact, it's got quite a lot of material in between chapters and a lot of, frankly, great artwork, pictures of cities around the world, also great maps. So the textbook is not as difficult to deal with as it might look when you first get it. Nevertheless, there are 17 chapters. And again, the purpose of my mentioning it is to let you know that getting through each of these chapters is not as difficult as it might be the case with a textbook whose chapters are a lot larger, even though there are fewer of them. So don't be afraid of the textbook. It's a good textbook. And among other things, it has some great maps and other very good illustrations. So the chapters in the textbook are sort of broken down into, I believe, 4 groups: the general nature of international business, the business environment, the way in which companies try to achieve competitive advantage in international markets, and the way in which we can identify marketing opportunities on a global basis. And finally, the ways in which we implement strategy, as well as conduct operations in an international enterprise. So I'll drop back here now and just mention a couple of these chapters in a little more detail. Not much. The purpose again is just to let you know what's here. But you can see over on the right, there are a couple notes. First of all, as I make this video, we are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, eagerly awaiting the distribution of vaccines, which hopefully will get us out of the pandemic that exists around the world. But you can imagine that the COVID pandemic has really changed the way business is done around the world. And it's made, for instance, a distribution of products between countries much more difficult, which has made it more difficult for corporations to obtain the supplies that they need. So you've heard about the impacts of the coronavirus on supply chains. And there indeed has been a major implication, major impact of the coronavirus on international supply chains. So throughout the course, we'll be talking about the impacts of the coronavirus on international trade generally. And as we get into each of these chapters, topics, the issue of the coronavirus pandemic will come up now and then. Another item you see on the right side of the screen is a list of many cases. At the end of every chapter, there is a very short, usually 1.5, sometimes as long as 2.5 pages, that describes a particular company that does business internationally and the issues that it faced at a particular point when some sort of problem or opportunity presented itself. These are good mini cases. And so throughout the course, I have asked you to identify or to answer some questions about 5 of these. And I see there's 6 on this list, and I'm not sure which one. Oh, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So there are 5 points, essentially 1 case per week in 5 weeks. When I've asked you to answer a couple of questions in a short paper, these are not long papers. You do not have to use APA style. You don't have to cite your references. You don't need a cover page. Some people submit these little 1-page papers with a 1-page cover sheet and a separate page of references, and it drives me nuts because they're submitting 1 page with 2 pages of extra material. Not necessary in this course. Just answer the questions and be sure to put your name on the page and upload it in the portal that is provided on the Moodle Shell, and I will be grateful. Anyway, here we go. The first section then of the textbook and the course is on the general nature of international business, and you can see the first 5 chapters, and they're very standard. This is what you would see in just about any textbook on international business. And after these 5 chapters, there will be a little test. And I'll go over the tests and quizzes and grading for the course in just a few minutes. The second group of chapters is on the international business environment. So in addition to the usual material on markets, the textbook has separate discussions of political systems, which, as you already know, differ between countries. The way in which government regulates and controls or does not control business in different countries and groups of countries. There's a special chapter on markets that are emerging. They're not underdeveloped, but they're not as developed as the United States and most European countries, but instead they're in between and they're emerging, and emerging markets often provide us with especially attractive opportunities to expand our business internationally. Monetary and financial markets, of course, are critical, especially if you want to finance an expansion program and so forth. So that's the second group of 5 chapters, and I'm not sure, but I think we move on to the next couple of chapters before there's another test. But The two chapters in part C are about strategy, strategic planning, and the first chapter deals with the way that we look at international markets and capabilities of firms to do business in those markets, tries to achieve a sort of a fit between what the firm can do and what's out there in the external environment that we can't control, but that we can either exploit or perhaps we have to avoid because there are some risks. Anyway, strategy is all about achieving an agreement between internal capabilities and what's out there in that external environment that we looked at on the prior page. And so the second chapter then discusses how to exploit opportunities more specifically. And then there's a test. Finally, the term strategy implementation is a bit of a reach. Certainly exporting is one way to implement our strategy if we choose not to locate our business in a foreign country. If we do, that'll call for foreign direct investment, FDI. And sometimes the best way to do that is to collaborate with a partner in another country, and that's what you can see the title of chapter 14 addresses. So then licensing and franchising are another way of moving into another country. And then we have the housekeeping or the nuts and bolts chapters of accounting and managing financial affairs of an international corporation. If you've had a course in accounting, you may be aware of the fact of IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards, which exist in Europe, but not in the United States. We use generally accepted accounting principles. So, and there are some differences in the way we are required to account for businesses in different countries. And so this chapter deals with that and the variations of financial management. How, for instance, do we record the value of assets when exchange rates change? As the exchange rates change, then the value in US dollars of assets held in foreign countries also may change depending on how we choose to record them. International marketing, of course, is another topic that we would expect to deal with in the management of a company that does business internationally. And the same for human resources, because the way in which we're asked to manage people, the rules and regulations for dealing with people, and the psychological, cultural differences between countries all come into play. So by the time we've gone through these 17 chapters, you should have a pretty good grasp of what's involved in international business. And of course, that's the purpose of the course. In addition to the information about the textbook at the top of this slide, you can see that I've mentioned the scope of the course, and I probably should have put some sort of a division line or something to make note of that. But for each chapter, there is a quiz. The quizzes are not intended to trick you or to be unnecessarily difficult, but they do cover all of the material in the chapter. And so you really need to review that chapter before you take the quiz. There will be 3 tests, as I mentioned, one after the first 5 chapters, one after the next, gosh, I don't know what it is, 6 or 7 chapters, and then one after another, the final 6 chapters. And as I mentioned, in 5 weeks, 5 separate weeks, there will be, beginning with the very first week, you'll be asked to read a little short case that focuses in on a particular issue of international business. And I'll ask you to answer a couple questions about that mini case. And that's what it is. It's a miniature case. And it shouldn't take you very long to answer that or those questions simply by reading. If you read the case and then refer back to the textbook, to the chapter rather, to remind yourself what the principal issues that the case might be demonstrating are. And with that, you'll do just fine. Now, there is a term paper, a term project paper that you will be obliged to submit at the very end of the course. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit further. At the beginning of the course, I'm going to ask you to choose one of 3 cases or companies to study throughout the course. One is John Deere or Deere and Company. This region has a lot of agriculture in it. Some of you actually may be agriculture or agribusiness majors. And so I've put that one in there just for you because agriculture and John Deere are very popular in this region. Deere does business all over the world. It's a very international company, and it's appropriate for this course. The second case involves 2 aircraft manufacturers, Boeing and its rival in Europe, Airbus. What's rather interesting about that case is that it's not really just about those 2 companies. Let me show you real quick, just very, very quickly. You might be interested in this. Let me see if I can, there we are. Now, let me come over here and see if I can pick this guy up. Here's a company that you haven't heard about before. See if I can move. This is a Comac airplane. The Comac is the Chinese manufacturer, and it is building airplanes today and flying them all over China. I can attest to that because recently I visited China and flew all over China. Now, I confess that I was more often in an Airbus or a Boeing airplane because the distances that we traveled sometimes were fairly long. But Comac is a Chinese aircraft manufacturer which competes with Airbus and Boeing. And you're going to need to acquaint yourself with that company as well. If you can glance at this table real quick and this diagram, you can see that its airplane is just about the same as an A320 or a Boeing 737. What's interesting about the Comac is that it is very advanced in its technology. Now, to make matters more confusing, you can see over here on the left side of this diagram is the Irkut MS-21. In fact, Earcut is made by a larger aircraft manufacturer in Russia, Rosneft. And Rosneft is the equivalent of Boeing in Russia. And like Boeing, it makes both commercial and military aircraft. So that's another hound in the hunt if you want to study Boeing versus Airbus. But in any event, it won't be long before Rosneft and Comac jointly produce a new jumbo jet, and that is going to prove to be the worst nightmare for Boeing and Airbus. So before you decide to choose Boeing versus Airbus, I wanted to acquaint you with the fact that you'll be dealing with more companies than just Boeing and Airbus. And the final case then is Toyota versus General Motors. Toyota is the largest automobile manufacturer in the world, and its approach to doing business is much different from General Motors, which used to be the largest auto manufacturer in the world and still is the largest one in the United States. But General Motors, under a new chief executive, has adopted a very different strategy from the one that it used to employ. And among other things, General Motors is now focusing much more on increasing its profit margin than increasing the scope of markets it serves. So all three of these are really interesting cases, and I'd like you to choose one at the very beginning of the course. So think about it right now. And maybe do a little bit of research on your own before you let me know what case you want to study. But as soon as you figure it out, just send me an email and let me know. I would appreciate it, but certainly do it before the first week is over, and preferably much sooner than that. Okay, so during the course, as we go through those 17 chapters, you'll get ideas about how you could look at the company or companies that you are studying. And you want to make notes from each chapter about the kind of information that you will gather about these companies. And then when you have time, use the internet, get information about the company. And during the course, when we get together on the internet, I'll try to give you some pointers, but never hesitate to get in touch with me and ask me if you're having any difficulty. Incidentally, there is a file on the Moodle Shell entitled Analytic Methods. If you take a look at that file, you will find some methods for analyzing companies in international markets. And some of these methods are not designed just for international markets, but you can use them in international markets. And again, during our meetings on the internet in Zoom, I'll try to discuss these models for looking at international business situations so that you can use them as you go through these 7 weeks. But no matter how much I try to help you, and I certainly will, you're going to need to do some fact finding about these companies on your own. And there are a lot of ways to do that. As you might imagine, you can go to the company's website, and in that file that I mentioned, you will find, among other things, a list of journals that you can go to and find information, likely find information about these companies. But one way or another, you're going to have to do a little bit of fact finding on your own. And of course, that's the way it is in real business life, isn't it? You you're not provided material all tied together for you in a textbook in your real business life. You got to go put it together yourself. So, but I think that you'll find this project interesting as long as you do it routinely every week. If you do it for 6 weeks, when it comes time to write your or submit your final report in the 7th week, you'll have no problem. But if you wait until the last few days, which many people do, then life is going to be uncomfortable. So please take my advice. After you read each chapter, ask yourself if there's a method or an approach, a concept, or a context that you can use in your case analysis. And go get that information from the company's website. It's annual report, it's Form 10K. You can, of course, get a lot of it on the website. I like to send to the company and get the annual report and Form 10K myself, among other things. These are real large documents and they become awfully difficult to work through online, but that's your choice. I strongly recommend that you get a 3-ring binder for this project. And when you see the outline for the project report, which I will show you in just a minute, you can set up your binder for each topic in the report and assemble information in each topic as you accumulate it throughout the course. And then if you've done that at the end of the course, you ought to be able to write your report fairly, I won't say easily, but without any significant difficulty. Let's see if I can get this thing to move on here. Okay, so in fact, here's the little slide that I was mentioning. Because each of these companies is publicly owned, you can get lots of information that they are obliged to disclose to the public. So you can go to the company's website. Usually there's a tab for investor relations, or sometimes it's called Contact Us. But you can see the check marks for annual report, Form 10K, and so forth. Then you might request that information. You can often do it online. Sometimes you have to call the company and ask for that information to be sent to you. Normally, companies are pretty cooperative. The one problem that I have found over the years is that just because you request the information doesn't mean you're going to get it right away. This is just an expense for them to pay the staff people to send you that information, and they're not going to place the highest priority on it. So your smart move is to get in touch with a company just as quickly as possible, so that even if there's a delay in getting it to you, you'll be able to make use of it. Those are the journals that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. Each one of those magazines is known for its excellent business reporting and also tends to write pretty substantial articles about companies. So if you can find an article in The Economist, for instance, about one of your companies, you're going to get really good information. And the same is true for all 5 of these journals. Okay, here's the outline for that term project that I mentioned. And you can see that there are 5 sections. So you'll probably want to have 6 sections in, at least 6 sections in your 3-ring binder, the 6th being for your draft of the report. Now, when you see this outline, and by the way, there's a much more readable version with larger print and more detailed pages for each one of these sections on your Moodle shell, so that you can print them out, and pretty much make them the first pages of that of each section in your 3-ring binder. Now, most of this information is available, or you're going to you're going to learn how to put it together as we go through the course. Once in a while, particularly section 3, part B, it may not be possible to get information on every topic from the website, and you may not get them from from articles either. Frankly, what I don't want you to do is feel like you have to cover each one of the letter items in this outline perfectly in order to get an A. That is not the case. You should do the very best that you can. If you have difficulty or questions about anything in the outline or how to go about it, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. But also don't skimp. Don't just do a general discussion of environmental trends and issues with no specific information about those 5 topics. That will not get you a good grade. So do your very best. But if there are items that are simply not available to you, don't be concerned. You might communicate with me, correspond with me, and let me know you're having that problem. I might be able to tell you how to solve it. And a very good time to do this is when we have our class meetings. But please write your report with these 5 sections. And again, I strongly urge you to use a 3-ring binder. Okay, here's how your grade will be calculated in this course. As I mentioned, there's a quiz on every chapter, and that'll be worth about 20% of your grade. There will be 3 tests. Each one is worth 15%, making 45. These mini cases that I mentioned, 5 of them at the end of 5 different chapters throughout the course, 1 per week, will be worth 15%. So that's only 3% per paper, but 15% when you add it all up. And finally, that term project of yours, because it covers everything in the course, I've given it a fairly heavy weight, 20%. Again, start early and keep adding to that 3-ring binder as you work through the course. And then that 20% will be yours. But if you wait till the last week, you're probably not going to get all 20 points. So be advised accordingly. Okay. So your Moodle shell has these items which we've talked about: the syllabus, I think there's still, it may be a link or something, but there's something about my background, at least I think there is. I've done a fair amount of business internationally, both when I was Vice President of Corporate Planning and Development for Philips Industries and Director of Corporate Planning at Holiday Inn. I was managing partner of a consulting firm in Ohio that did strategic planning for firms around the country and around the world, rather. And subsequent to that, even in my academic career, which came after my consulting career, when I retired from the consulting firm, I got into academics. But ever since then, I have traveled in other countries, including the ones that you hear about in the news, China and Russia, as well as South America, Mexico, Canada, of course, Europe. I can probably serve as a reasonably well-informed instructor for you in this course. The Moodle Shell has a pretty specific layout of the objectives, the deliverables, if you will, that you need to take care of every week. And as I've already shown you, there's a term project outline, and on the Moodle Shell, it's got, I think, 6 pages, the summary that I showed you, and then a page for each section that sort of spells out the details. There's another PowerPoint file that includes analytic models. I mentioned it earlier, and I'll go over that at some point during the course so that you can make use of those models in your project. There may not be chapter review videos in this course. That may be a mistake. In most of my courses, or rather some, I do video recordings of chapters simply because we may not be able to get together every week. Since we can get together every week, I'll probably use the chapter review videos in our class meetings. So that may not be true. There certainly are PowerPoint slides for every one of those 17 chapters on your Moodle Shell. And those are the PowerPoints that I'll go over in class or in videos. And sometimes I'll do both. I'll review one chapter in class and do a video recording of the other two and put those recordings on your Moodle Shell. So even if they're not there now, they may be there during the course. And as we go through the course, I may post some supplemental instruction materials, such as that information about aircraft manufacturers that I showed you a few minutes ago. The tests are online. They have to be. This is an online course. And all you need to do is just click on them when they're open. You can't click on them now, but you'll be able to do that at the appropriate time. And finally, for each one of those mini cases, as well as the term project, there's a portal in the Moodle Shell. You just upload your paper in that portal, and I will receive it. And you will receive a grade for your paper or test, hopefully soon after I get it. But I've got to confess to you, with all the courses that are going on, and the fact that we are under this coronavirus pandemic, we never know what to expect. And so I'll just promise to do the very best for you that I can. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this introduction to Business 370. I hope you enjoy the course. More importantly, I hope you learn a lot in it and find it sufficiently interesting that you seek employment in the international division or department of the company that you go to work for. So with that, I will say goodbye if I can just figure out how to end this video, but I'll give it a go right now. Goodbye.